in Arizona.
I'm like, where's Lady
AARP
B?
AARP is the nation's largest nonprofit, nonpartisan organization dedicated to empowering people 50 and older to choose how they live as they age. Now, with a nationwide presence of nearly 38 million members across the nation and approximately 900,000 in Arizona, AARP strengthens communities and advocates for what matters most to families: health security, financial stability, and personal fulfillment. Now, in the months of May and June, we've been focusing on healthy living, and we're going to amplify the call to action for the 50 plus community to develop healthy habits for mental well being. As the country continues to grapple with the ebbs and flows of the COVID-19 pandemic, many are eager to move into a sense of normalcy. Now, many in the 50 plus community have developed coping mechanisms that show a strong sense of resiliency and the need to anchor themselves. Ongoing public health concerns, economic issues, and global conflicts are still weighing on older adults. By covering topics like sleep, stress management, healthy eating, and exercise, AARP demonstrates that its healthy living offerings can help Americans develop and maintain healthy habits for their mental well being. So visit us today. Take a look at some of the resources. There's a little URL scrolling around across the bottom of the screen, and we are there for you. All right, as usual, we're going to welcome Coach Sherry Ann to join us so we can start talking about healthy lunches today. How are you, Coach?
I'm good, Lady B. How are you?
I won't complain. Thanks so much for asking. Good to see you again. Good to see you. Let's get right into this. I will say that when I was with you last time and we were talking about healthy breakfast, I was so skeptical. I'm like, really healthy, y'all? Really, really healthy? This is going to be boring. It was wonderful. If you've not already seen that episode, go back and take a look. So I cannot wait to see what she has to share with us today. Coach Sherry Ann.
Well, if you remember, I said, you want to do breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince, and dinner like a pauper. And so lunch is always kind of, for me, it's breakfast has always been our biggest meal. And then lunch has just kind of been some fun things. I do have, I know the word healthy tends to, make people shy away a little bit more than normal. But I do think that if you keep your lunches light and, and fun, that it doesn't weigh you down, and you don't hit that 2-3 o'clock lag in the afternoon that a lot of people tend to feel. And so
You
so a
said
lot of
you said breakfast like a king
yes,
and lunch like a prince
yes.
and dinner like a pauper. Where are the queens?
Right, I know. We should
Maybe
do
those are our
queen.
snacks.
We should do queen, princess, and then what would it be?
We can go back
Paupers?
with the paupers. Sure. Oh, that's funny.
But yeah, so we'll jump right into this. But yeah, my lunches tend to be a little more healthier. But the other thing too is I think with lunches, it helps for people to do a little meal prepping. But meal prepping can feel overwhelming for a lot of people. And so it just takes practice. And if you're meal prepping, don't think that you have to prep for the entire week. Just prep for the next few days. Because prepping is going to keep you from going and doing the convenience lunch, the fast food lunch, because people tend to be in a rush usually. And so they'll go the easy route, which is convenience. And so, but you can create your own easy route and your own convenience by a little meal prepping. And some of the things I suggest is just cutting your veggies up, uh, earlier in the week, like wash and prep them in advance, because this will help you save time and money. So that's one of the big things. And does my voice sound okay? Like, is it coming
You're
across
good.
okay? Okay, good.
You're good.
All right, good. All right, so the first one is a really popular one because we do a lot of eggs in our house. I don't know if you guys remember, during breakfast, I said we have a lot of eggs. So I tend to have hard-boiled eggs on hand because they are not only a good snack, but you can make egg salad sandwiches with them and just put them on salads and different things. And so this is an egg salad sandwich, and I have it left it open faced. I'm gonna make sure it doesn't slide off my plate. And so when I have some colorful carrots, I always do purple and colored carrots because if you've been watching me long enough, you know that I say eat the rainbow. So try to get as many colors as you can. And then once again, like I said at breakfast, you want to focus on your macronutrients. So your proteins, your fats, and your carbs. Carbs are really easy to get in. They sneak their way in everywhere. So just make sure you focus on your proteins and your fats. So I make our egg salad with Greek yogurt. I don't do mayonnaise. I've just never been a mayonnaise person. I know there's a lot of healthy versions of mayonnaise out there, but doing the Greek yogurt adds a little extra protein. So, and then the seasonings that I add just varies. Like sometimes I'll do dill and really thinly slice a red onion. This actually happens to be kind of a salt and pepper and a little bit of garlic in this one. So I do the Dave's bread, like we talked, Dave's Killer bread, or Ezekiel bread. So a really hearty bread, not Wonder Bread.
Right. By the way, Dave's
Bread.
Killer Bread is at Costco.
Yes, it is.
It's at Costco. I found it.
Yep. Awesome. And then I always put some greens on there just for my color because we like color. And then the egg salad sandwich. And then I add carrots, so we've got some fat, some protein, and some carb here. And you can make egg salad ahead, put it in a Tupperware, leave it in the fridge, and you can eat it with crackers or slap it on a piece of bread. So this is a really easy go-to lunch.
And you're going to share these recipes with us again?
Yes. Yeah.
Wonderful.
So for what we did for breakfast, and we'll do it again for lunch, is we'll create a little hyperlink because I can't put pictures in the comments section after for the show. So we'll create a blog post with all the recipes in there and some ideas. And I'll probably throw in some extra ideas in there for lunch because lunch I've found tends to really stump people. I don't know why, but it just does. And I think people put
I think maybe it does because we're in a hurry, and if we've not planned, then we don't know what we're going to do, and so now we're trying to rush because we only have a limited amount of time to be back at our desks or wherever we need to be, and so now, oh my word, what do I do? And so there's this. I think that may be the stump part. Right. So I'm glad that you're helping us with this today. Meal prep, you all, and if you guys have any questions, be sure to put them in the chat, and we'll get to you.
Yes. And also, when you're tuning in, let us know where you're tuning in from. I always like to see where people are tuning in from. We've had people all across the United States, so I love that. All right, so egg salad sandwiches. It's really easy, really easy. Another one that you can do that you can prep ahead that I really like, and if you have to go to lunch, take your lunch with you, to work or wherever, is a bento box. So they have these cute little Tupperwares that are already divided out on the inside. And these worked great for lunches for my kids. They get bento boxes for school. They don't really like this bento box though, because it was funny when I was prepping it this morning, my youngest was like, that's a vegetarian one. Because we're not vegetarians here. We eat meat, but this is a vegetarian lunch. So here's a little hummus. So you can buy these cute little containers, at the store. And, put your hummus in there. And in here, of course, I've got all kinds of colors, which I love. So some bell peppers, some radishes, some cucumbers. You can put whatever veggies you want. Just try to go for a variety. And I have some colored carrots again. And then over here is my biggest component to fat. So these are olives. I love Greek olives. And I love all olives. So this is a great source of fat. And then we have different kinds of crackers in this house right now. We happen to have like the thin Triscuits. We had a couple of other crackers in the pantry, but I chose these because I like these thin Triscuits. But now you can really do whatever cracker you want.
You mentioned olives, and the olives I've tasted are always salty. Is there something we can do to get some olives that aren't so salty? Is there a way to, just rinsing them or doing something? And maybe you've not experienced that, but they're salty.
They are salty, but I don't have a problem with. I actually like salt because I'm so active that I actually have to take a salt supplement because I don't get enough salt in my diet. Because salt actually helps with the contractility of your muscles. It also helps with brain clarity. And there's been a lot of recent studies about the RDA on salt being too low. But if it's because you don't like salty olives, I think you could probably look for a low sodium option. I'm not sure if they even make those because I haven't even looked.
I think
But
that's probably a good idea for people with hypertension or something like that to be mindful at least of that.
yes.
But all
I
right.
mean, definitely, I always like say if you have a medical situation, medical issue in the sense of hypertension, high blood pressure, things like that, then you definitely always want to check with your doctor before you're making any major altercations to your diet. But yes, salt is something we definitely need, especially here in Arizona, because it's hot here, so we sweat, and when you sweat, you lose a lot of sodium, magnesium, potassium, all of those electrolytes in your in your sweat. So, but if you don't like salty foods, you don't like salty olives, I'm sure there's a low sodium option out there. But if you
So,
don't want to use olives as your fat, the other things that you could put in here would be cheese. So you could block up some fun cheese and put cheese in here as a nice fat. So there's
yeah.
that option too. Just make sure you get some fat because there's no fat anywhere else in here. Um, and your hummus, hummus is made from garbanzo beans. So when you're putting the beans and a grain together, this helps get your protein in. And so if you're a vegetarian, you should be pretty well versed in how to mix your amino acids and things to get a good protein profile.
Do
But
I?
this is an easy snack. I mean, easy lunch to take with you.
All right, Coach Sherry Ann, do we have to have fats at every meal, or can I have some fats at breakfast and then maybe later on and just skip it during one meal?
You could. You just need to make sure that you're getting enough. See, as we age, we definitely need fats, and it tends to be where uh, people will cut back fats because their metabolism is slowing down and they're worried about weight. But we need fat in order for our joints to be healthy, in order for our organs to function, in order for hormones to, be utilized appropriately. So if you want to skip fat at lunch and just have a low fat or minimal fat, lunch, then that's fine. Just make sure you're getting enough at breakfast and at dinner.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, definitely. Because most of my lunches are low fat. Most of my fat in my meals usually does come at breakfast and dinner. Um, so that's totally fine that you asked that. And a lot of it too is just because I'm usually blowing and going, and so by around lunchtime, I don't have a lot of time to sit down and eat a lot. So it's usually pretty light, like I've shown you so far.
Well, that's where it's nice that we have some people watching. We have Carol Butler with us from New York, and she says the Pearls brand makes reduced sodium olives. So, yay for those of us who may want to take a look at that. Thank you for sharing that, Carol. Thank
Yes,
you.
definitely. I figured there would be something out there low sodium.
Works for
All
me.
right, so the next one is a really light fare, and it's just a chicken salad. Once again, we've got some nice colors in here, and I always prefer to do mixed greens over just romaine, or definitely not iceberg. Iceberg has no value to it whatsoever. It's just a crunch value, and that's it. So we do mixed greens. It's a 50-50 blend is what I get. And I always do the heirloom tomatoes. So we have different colored tomatoes. I have radishes, red bell peppers, cucumbers, and then I make my own salad dressing. I prefer to make my own versus buy salad dressings because I don't like all the preservatives that get put into salad dressings. And so I just do a very easy olive oil and a seasoned rice vinegar, and I add garlic, oregano, and black pepper. And that's it. It's super simple, very clean. And I can put it on just about anything just to kind of zest something up because that seasoned rice vinegar just awakens the flavors in a lot of things.
Okay.
So in this, and you can add avocado to this for some fat, or just the olive oil dressing. It's got fat in it as well. But this is a pretty light meal. And so the chicken is actually from a rotisserie chicken that you can just buy at the store and shred it and keep the shredded chicken in your fridge and use it for different things. And so that's, or if you have an Instapot, it's really easy to cook a chicken in your Instapot. So
Super.
pretty clean, pretty easy, pretty straightforward.
Nice.
I know because it's a salad.
Well, yeah, I probably want something else with it, like some bread.
Well, and that's totally fine. Now when you do bread, do you like to do a heartier bread or do you do like the white fluffy bread?
I want the Red Lobster cheddar biscuit bread. That's what I want. That's going to taste good with that salad. But I'm learning to cut back and to do some of the better bread. You know, some of the delight. I can't think of the first name of that delight bread. It's only like 40, 45 calories for a slice, and even just to toast that. And I've done that sometimes. Just put some peanut butter on it, and I've actually had that with a salad. It's interesting that you mention the iceberg lettuce because the crunch, but isn't that good roughage for you to get through your system to help you out?
It is. I mean, there is some fiber in it, so there is some value to it. But as far as like any antioxidants, like you can get in leafy greens, then, because leafy greens will provide a lot more for you than just an iceberg lettuce. But
Okay.
I mean, I totally get having that nice crunch, especially on a salad. So not a salad, a sandwich. So my kids will get like romaine lettuce because it'll provide some crunch. But I don't remember the last time I bought a head of iceberg.
But romaine's okay.
Yeah, because it's still hearty to where it gives you your crunch, but it's a little more leafy green. And
Okay.
so, because leafy greens, you're going to get your iron, you're going to get some vitamin C. So it's just if you can tend to go more green, you're going to be a little better off. So
All
that's all.
right.
And there's nothing wrong. And so back to the whole bread thing, I do want people to know that I am never like, you know, don't ever just let go of something entirely. Like especially because we've talked about this before. We are emotional eaters. We are. Our society is. And so if you completely deny yourself, at some point you're going to fall off the wagon and then you're going to beat yourself up for falling off the wagon. And it's life is about moderation and just making as many healthy choices as you can. You don't have to completely deprive yourself of those things that actually bring you joy and a good emotional response when you eat. I mean, for me, like I love ice cream. So like that's like if I'm in a not a happy mood or I'm not feeling good, like ice cream is my go-to. And so I never deprive myself of ice cream. I think right now we have probably 5 different flavors of ice cream in our freezer. So yeah, don't deprive yourself. Allow yourself to have those things that make you feel good. It's just about making as many healthy choices as you can.
And as you said about everything in moderation. I'm an ice
Yes.
cream girl too. I love butter pecan and pralines and cream. Yes, I like ice cream as well, but just don't eat the whole pint
Right.
in one sitting.
Put it in a bowl. Don't eat out of the carton.
Oh,
Or if you do eat out of the carton, tell yourself you're only going to dip your spoon into that carton like 5 times. Give yourself a limit. But yeah, if you sit there, because that's the thing is being mindful about when you're eating. And I really want to encourage people to not sit in front of a TV.
mm.
If you have family, sit with your family. Use that time to bond and have a communal response with each other and eat together and really be conscious of the actual art and act of chewing our food. And it's really wonderful to be able to prepare food with your loved ones. When we prepare food, if we're being mindful of our preparing, all 5 senses are awakened. And it's really wonderful to be connected to the food that you're putting in your body to give you sustenance. We become such a mindless act of eating, and people eat in front of the TV and they're not even aware. And so when that happens, it's like, so if you take the carton of ice cream over to your couch with your spoon and you're watching TV while you're eating, before you know it, you're going to look down and it's empty. So whenever you choose to put a utensil in your hand and put food in your mouth, be mindful of what you're eating and why you're eating it and enjoy the process.
For people who live alone or for people who are isolated because of COVID or something else, what do we do? And since you can't eat with family, what do you do?
No, that is a great. So I would encourage you to sit down and actually have a relationship with your food. Like give thanks for it. Give thanks, thank your food for, thank for the, whoever you pray to for providing that food for you so that you could have sustenance. And just have, be mindful of the chewing process, where it came from. Like it is hard. It's challenging, especially since we are a society of desiring connection,
Hmm.
and our cell phones and TVs and computers have really desensitized us to connection, to true connection. And so if you are alone, maybe you can do a Zoom with a family member while you're having a meal together. I've done that. I've done happy hour Zooms with friends. in the sense of just being able to connect the best way we can when we are isolated. So, but I would say, do some mindfulness practices of when you're actually engaging in your food.
Well, and for some, it might be a wonderful way to get some exercise in too. You can put on an exercise tape and eat while you watch it, and then you've done your exercising and you've eaten too. How about that?
Hopefully it's not a messy meal.
Woo! At least I watched the video, right? No, I'm teasing.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, let me show you another one. So these have different names. It's either a macro bowl, a Buddha bowl, a protein bowl. So you'll see that name, used, throughout. And these are kind of fun. Oh, my tomato's about to roll off. So a protein bowl, Buddha bowl, macro bowl, however you want to look at it. So in here this is a wild rice quinoa mix next to some garbanzo beans. So this is another vegetarian dish. And this right here is your perfect protein right here, your complete amino acid profile. So then we also have some avocado for fat, because I love avocados, some beautiful tomatoes, some bell peppers, and some greens. And so with this, you could drizzle olive oil over this and just mix it all together, because the flavors in of itself will be really wonderful. I tend to do my olive oil and rice vinegar mix that I make, my dressing, just drizzle it on top, stir it all together, and enjoy this. If you don't want it to be all vegetarian, you can add tuna. Like canned tuna is a great way to get protein. They now make canned chicken. Those things aren't my favorite. Like I've said before, I'm not a big processed person, but you can add meat to this if you wanted to. In the past, sometimes I've added salami to this, like just rolled up salami. And so, but this is another vegetarian dish.
So we have a question that asks, how do you make quinoa taste better?
Oh, that's a great question. So there's one thing, because when I very, very first made it, my kids were like, what is this? So I toast the quinoa in the pan. So I put it in there and I just am stirring it while the pan's like on medium heat. And I kind of get a toasted flavor to the quinoa before I add water. And sometimes what you can do instead too is add half water, half chicken broth. Because if you add just chicken broth, it's way too salty. And I like salt, but it's too salty. So you can do half water, half chicken, or a vegetable broth if you prefer. But that helps the quinoa taste better, is toasting it first. And then you can add chicken broth instead of just water.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So is most of that plate, by the time you eat it, is it a cold plate?
This I do cold, yeah. But you could put this in there warm if you wanted, the beans and rice. Mm-hmm. And I've done that too before. And when my little tomatoes start to get a little withered, because sometimes they may not get eaten fast enough, warm tomatoes are actually really, really good. They kind of plump up, but then when you poke them, they like almost explode because of everything swells inside. But even your tomatoes, when they start to get a little withered on the outside, you can cook them and add them to other dishes, pasta dishes. You add them to rice and beans, and they're actually very, very good. So I like warm tomatoes.
You showed the beans, and what comes to my mind is black-eyed peas, candied yams, a piece of cornbread, and I'm good. Can I do that too?
You sure can. Maybe throw some veggies in there,
Oh, okay. Okay, some spinach or some candied, or collard greens or mustard greens or something. So
that would be good.
That's a nice, okay, good.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and when it comes to beans, do whatever bean you like. And black-eyed peas, I like black-eyed peas. I really can't think of anything that I don't like. So a lot of it's just in the preparation of it. And and I've really come to learn that like the food I eat is to help me, it's to keep me alive. And so I'm very cognizant of the food that I do put in my mouth. And I do have a relationship with my food, because without it, I wouldn't be here. So, I enjoy food.
As do I. I think most of us probably do. All right. What else do you have?
So this last one is a fun one. My daughter actually really loves this one because she loves, and this isn't an Asian dish, but it's Asian inspired. So because she likes lettuce wraps. And so I make a dinner that's lettuce wraps, but then we now have a lunch that's a lettuce wraps. And so these are baby romaine. So I buy the baby romaine at Costco because it's the best place to buy it. I don't know why I can't find it anywhere else, but it's the perfect size for lettuce wraps. And in these lettuce wraps, I have cheese, shredded chicken, my little thinly sliced red bell pepper, and then some avocado. So, and these are great. Like this is, and you could sprinkle on a seasoning if you wanted, or even drizzle a little tiny dressing in it if you wanted. But I like these because it's just clean and easy, and these just roll up really nice. So they're just like little lettuce tacos, and so easy to easy to go. And so there's no grain in here. So there's if you wanted to add some bread, Lady B, or roll it in a tortilla. If there's actually good tortillas out there. It's just if you buy a basic flour tortilla, it's so carb loaded that you're better off trying to buy a low carb tortilla, or even like we don't do we do a lot of corn tortilla here, not flour tortillas. But these lettuce wraps, like, so if this is not appealing to you because you're missing your grain, maybe toast some bread and have some bread with it.
But yeah, but that does look good actually. And but it almost looks like I want to dip it in something.
And you certainly can do that. Like, so another thing that like we have here, and I buy it at Trader Joe's, it's a Greek yogurt based dip, and it's got spinach in it and some artichoke and some other things. And that's something that I would dip that lettuce wrap in.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yep. So those are the 5 meals I have to share with you. And yes, they're all very clean and, very healthy. But the thing with health is like, just have fun with it and focus on, like I said, colors, and don't be afraid to try new things. Like, there's so many things out there that you can do. And there's so many websites that offer lunch ideas, and some of them are a little overwhelming, but just start with one thing at a time that you'd like to add, and try to change up your diet a little bit here and there, and just add some color, add some flair. But like we said before, lunch can sometimes be overwhelming just simply because we're always in a rush.
Right.
So to circle back around, don't forget to meal prep a little bit. Like right here, like we already have these are all sliced veggies. So because some of them are on the meals here, but we prep a lot at the front of the week, because also when I'm making dinner, I set out sliced veggies with a dip of some sort that the kids can kind of munch on before we actually sit down and eat.
That's nice. One of the things I like about the way you present is you tell us to be mindful to add things, to add, you can add a little of this, you can add a little of that. And rarely do you say that we need to take away. And when we think of doing healthy things, we think of what we can't do. And it is important for us to understand what we can do. And so that gives us a nice positive mental image, even when she tells you, add a little of this, add a little of that, instead of saying, take that bread out and take this out and don't do this and don't do that. So I really, really appreciated that about you. And I'm sure the rest of our listeners do too. So thank you for that.
Yeah, this isn't about depriving yourself. This is about just making as many healthy choices as you can. The opportunities are there. So just squeeze them in when you can. Don't feel overwhelmed by it. I think we are our own worst critics, and we beat ourselves up way too much. And it's like, just find one thing that you can add or make a change to, and then go from there.
And it will make a difference eventually. It doesn't have to, we didn't get where we are overnight, and nothing will change that quickly overnight. But if we begin and stick to it and have, the support of other people, AARP offers, again, some great resources, some great courses, some great classes and videos like this one. And so we're here to help. And you have certainly done that for us. And I appreciate you for that every time we're here. Now, the next time that we're together, you're going to talk to us about healthy dinners.
Yes. And I love dinners. Like I said, I like to cook. So yeah, we'll have some fun dinners, some variety, some Instapot dinner, we'll do.
Oh, we're going to get some hot food.
Yes.
I want some hot food. Okay. Give me some hot food. That would be wonderful. All right. Any parting words you want to share with us?
No, just have fun. Experiment with your food. I think we have a tendency to get stuck in ruts. And so just experiment, have some fun, try something new.
Well, there you have it. Coach Sherry Ann has given us permission to have fun. Take a look at some of the colors, take a look at some of the other videos and some of the recipes, and share them with your friends and family. We're going to look forward to seeing you next time when Coach Sherry Ann talks to us about healthy dinners. Until then, take care and God bless.